collector. It's honorable that brought
Destiny of Nigeria.
Contribution to Nigerian peace.
Me, the things I want, may all of now look into this happening in Nigeria. When we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
And the new Nigeria is
education is telling them it's time to change.
All colors, shades, angles, and perspectives can be overwhelming in our present world of information overload. This is introducing Ground Zero. Ground Zero is a current affairs discussion phone-in program covering topical issues in the polity. The program is a platform for an in-depth analysis of trending issues by professionals, authorities in various fields, analysts, and key actors in the polity. Ground Zero gives the listener an opportunity to contribute to the discussion via phone call, SMS, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. From the conservatively serious to the ridiculously funny, Ground Zero accommodates them all. Professionals, urban contemporary businessmen and women, policymakers, public service workers, students, artisans, traders, and the in-between. Ground Zero comes up on Tuesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays 4 to 5 p.m. Ground Zero. This program is exclusive to Invicta 98.9 FM. Tune in.
Lights are green and all systems go. It's about time we take another hour off your schedule as we look at some of these topical issues in the polity. My name is Ahis Admo. It's time for the Never Dull Moment program on radio, Ground Zero. Today on the program Ground Zero, we shall be focusing much more on development, good governance, and things around how we can make life a little bit better for the average Nigerian, okay? And like you know, on the program Ground Zero, it's one where we bring up guests and analysts in-house and, of course, connect to you, the listener, and we all bring add our voices to whatever topic or issues that we are looking at on the program today. Okay, without taking much of your time, today's program is basically in two broad segments. And it's just like the SNIPPETS that I'll be reeling out, and the discussions will be along those two broad lines. The first snippet is we'll be raising awareness on the clauses and section of the Kaduna State Procurement Law. And that particular one is one that's powered by the Public and Private Procurement Center and Public and Private Development Center. And we have representatives from Kaduna here, from Followtaxes. And the particular project is the transparency and accountability in totality. We have Mohammed Sani Kassim. He's the program's lead, transparency and accountability in totality. Followtaxes. Mohammed, you're welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Okay. We also have with us in the studio Joy Una. She's also the Transparency and Accountability in Totality project with portfolio rather with Followtaxes, if I'm right. Joy, you're welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you very much.
And the second segment of the program where we'll be talking about Kaduna State Social Protection Policy and the zonal dissemination of the social protection policy that happened within this week in Kaduna. We'll be looking at matters arising, and to discuss that, I have Paul Joseph. He is from the Kaduna State Social Protection Accountability Coalition, KADSPAC. Paul Joseph, you're welcome to Ground Zero.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and who else do we have? You, the listener, you can be a part of the program by connecting via our various social media handles. On Twitter, it's at Invicta FM 989. Instagram is at Invicta FM 989. And of course, for the program specific Twitter handle, you can go to ground0247, ground0247. You can also watch us live because Invicta FM is video streaming, and the video streams you can watch us live at Invicta FM Kaduna. Invicta FM Kaduna. Just go there, you will see the video stream. It's out of the talking, and at some point in the course of the program, we'll open up our phone lines so that you can also call in and be a part of it. So I'd like to welcome you all once again to the program Ground Zero.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, for the first part of the program, where we shall be looking at raising awareness on the clauses and sections of the Kaduna State Procurement Law, I'd like us first of all to get to understand what the Kaduna State Procurement Law is all about. Then we'll now talk about raising the awareness and the things that people would need to know generally. So I'll start from Mohammed Sani Kassim.
Yeah, hello listeners, my name is Mohammed Sani Kassim. I work with Followtaxes. The procurement law, the Kaduna State Procurement Law for 2016, a law which the Kaduna State government did in order to regulate and further strategize and make the Kaduna State procurement system and processes more efficient, transparent, and accountable. And it's the same law that gave birth to the Kaduna State Public Procurement Authority, where is the KADSPAC, saddled with the responsibility of regulating public procurement in the whole of the state. So the law came 2016, and since then it has been able to create a lot of strides, and with that very law, a lot of things were able to fly in making sure procurement processes are more accountable and transparent in Kaduna. So that is it.
All right. Okay. Now, some of the things that I would like us to have especially focus on is I will be putting more emphasis on what the general public and public service providers, that's contractors, should know about their rights, privileges, and redress mechanism and other aspects, especially linked to ensuring transparency, accountability, value for money, and due process in the procurement process. Because many Nigerians still believe that it's business as usual, where something needs to go under the table before something can be done. And many Nigerians do not even know that there is a way to go about, even when I'm talking of many Nigerians, I'm talking about contractors now. They do not know that they have to follow the due process to get to where they want to get to. And in the course of that, for those that are following the due process and eventually did not get it or get it, they would have reasons to complain and all of that. And I know that that's the reason why we have this particular public procurement law, which has, first of all, opened up the space and created a level playing field for everybody that is interested in being part of the procurement process. Now, talking of the procurement process and rights, privileges, and redress mechanisms, what are those rights and privileges for contractors that contractors should know about? Privileges and redress mechanisms that are open to them.
So before we reach into that very stage, let me take a little steps backward, so that our listeners can understand the whole narrative. So let me discuss on the budget cycle itself. Because it's the budget cycle that definitely give back to procurement. So on the budget cycle, we have something we call fiscal planning, which is the first step. Fiscal planning. And fiscal planning entails something we call MTEF. That's the medium-term expenditure framework. So in the MTEF, the government come to say, okay, this is our plan, this is our expenditure plan, this is our revenue plan, and they create a semi-budget. Someone said a baby budget. for the next 3 years. To understand, with that MTF, it gives them ability to project what they will be able to achieve, the revenue, the expenditures in the on that very MTF. So after the MTF, then we do something we call consultations, which consultations will include more of CDC now in Kaduna perspective with the Community Development Charter. With the Community Development Charter and communities priority settings of the government to understand, okay, we want to focus more on this, and the community telling the government this is what we want the government to do for us. That will also lead to what we call sectoral input.
Yeah.
In this avenue, the government will pass in a circular to all MDAs, that's the ministries, departments and agencies, to tell them, okay, there's also what we call capping. For example, we say, okay, Minister of Education, you have 20 billion for this year. Write to us what you want, how you want to spend your 20 billion. So all MDAs, the circular will be there, and they'll be able to compile the projects they want to do for that very year. And also for the CDC, that's the Community Development Charter, the process will be activated, where they will get responses and consensus with their various communities on the projects and services they want the government to focus more on for that very year. So that very thing will create, after the harmonization and preparation, that will make what we call the draft budget. The draft, an estimate.
Yeah.
But that very estimate, someone call it draft zero. At times we call it draft zero because it will also have to come to the Executive Council for trashing ups and downs before the government, that's the executive in this aspect, before the government present that very draft budget to the House of Assembly.
Yeah.
So with that, taking that very budget into the House of Assembly, well, normally in Kaduna, that's also one of the good things the PPA, that's the procurement law, has been able to improve on. The Kaduna State government now, with what we've seen last year and some years back, there's what we call the town hall, which the executive now call civil society organizations, communities, and other concerned citizens to see the estimate even the state want to give the legislatures. So from that, in that very aspect, people have this kind of large chance to advise, to advocate for removal or addition of some projects before the state
actually passes,
give it to the assembly. And even in assembly now, God's so kind, they also do town hall meetings too, to hear from people, to hear perspectives, because we all believe unless if people have the power, have the ability to make and unmake, especially on the budget, they will not definitely own it. And the whole issue is people need to own the budget process. People need to understand it's their own taxation money that's being used into that project. So, and that's when we come for that. So after then, the legislators also do their own legislative work, which include inviting all the leaders of the MDAs to come and defend their budgets. And after careful deliberation, the town halls, the community works, they pass the budget. So if they pass the budget, it's still, then it comes back to the governor as the chief of the executive council for signature. So when the governor assent on that very bill, then it's now a law. And it's that very law, and it's that very place that we can start talking of the procurement itself.
Okay. Once the budget is passed, it is now a law.
The law.
Any infringement, violation, or cannibalization of that particular law, which is procurement in itself, that's I want us to water it down a little bit now.
Yeah.
Because for the average listener, when he hears me talk about procurement, he does not know that it's contracts that we are talking about.
Yes, definitely.
So, any contract that is not done the way it is presented by the governor is an infringement
of that very law.
Of that very law, which is the budget.
Yes.
Now, and we know that there are mechanisms for people to seek redress.
Yeah.
And also we will be looking at rights and privileges.
Yeah.
And generally say, because first, for those that want to be part of the procurement cycle,
Yeah.
they need to know that they are going into it and they are going to play on a level playing field.
Definitely.
Now, at what point do we say that that infringement is coming into it? Is it at the point of execution, point of cash releases or backings, or jobs not done according to specification?
Yeah.
At what point do we say there's an infringement? I'd like Joy to comment now.
Definitely.
Okay, so for the case of infringements, actually, for the 3 examples that you gave, we can actually say that the laws have been infringed on. If contracts aren't done according to specification, definitely that's an infringement. If contractors don't do what they're supposed to do, definitely that's an infringement. So I would like to talk about the next stages in the budget cycle, which is procurement tracking, which is an important aspect of the cycle, and this has to do with citizens. Now, a lot of us may know about the Open Government Partnership, and according to the Open Government Partnership, procurement is actually supposed to be public, and to a large extent, Kaduna State is doing well in that aspect, and we have open contracting. The National Public Procurement Authority has a website where you can go as citizens or residents of Kaduna State. You can go on that website and search for projects near you. There's projects that have been awarded, and you find information about those projects, the contractors, how much, the specifications, and the length of time that particular project is actually supposed to be carried out for. And this is where our rights as citizens come in. So it is your right as your citizen, because it is your tax money that is going into these projects, and you have a responsibility to make sure that these things are done properly. So when you go to the KADSPAC website, you can just Google it and search for projects near you. You should search for you should find projects near you where you can track and monitor, which brings us to the third stage of the budget cycle, which is execution. And the execution is just contractors doing what they're supposed to do. But sometimes, if they're not being watched, they may not do exactly what they're supposed to do according to specification. But we as citizens with the Open Government Partnership, we have the privilege and the rights to say, oh, this project is being done in my community, in my area. I can go to the website, see all the information necessary for the project, and I can go to the project location and see, okay, this is happening. Maybe it's ongoing, or it has been abandoned, or it's completed. If it's completed, is it according to specification, which is available on the KADSPAC website? And if it's not, you should know what to do next, which is visit the particular MDA to ask questions. So this is the stage where you're supposed to take ownership of the projects that are being done in the state. And so for the budget, we can either have when a budget is passed and money is released, maybe in the year, maybe the monies will be spent totally. If the monies are spent totally, that's fine. If it's not spent totally, we can say we have a surplus. If the money received is not enough to complete the project, then we say we have a deficit. And then the last stage in the budget cycle is the evaluation, where it's basically doing your books, auditing, knowing, okay, this money has gone in for this project, this is what we spent, this is what is left, this is our deficit, this is our surplus, depending on whatever it is. And then you go back to the first stage for the next year in the budget cycle.
Okay. I love this explanation that the two of you are giving. Now, the citizen first will be able to know, once they go to the KADSPAC website, they'll be able to know what project is there, where I am sure the bill of quantity should be available. And it's not available on the website.
No.
Yes, actually the bill of quantity is not yet available.
Okay, not yet
yes.
available.
You would have to go to the particular MDA to request.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But the majority of the contract information is available,
yes.
especially from the name of the contractor.
The
At times,
contractor,
even the phone number of the contractor,
Yes, is
the
available.
amount, the location, the title of the project, the duration of the project.
Yes.
But presently, it's one of our advocacy points in Kaduna, where we are trying to see that the whole bill of quantity will be
so
placed in that, so that if you just check, you have the full information of the contract.
Yes.
Because we believe at times when informations are half, they tend to be misleading. So if you're going to give me information, give me
just
full.
give me everything.
Okay,
That's one of our advocacy points.
So for a project that's going on, probably in my community now,
Yes.
if I want to know the details of it, I have to go to the particular MDA to find out those details.
Yes,
but
right.
broadly,
Yes.
what the project is, the people are wanting the contract, the contractor, the duration, and all of that will be on the website. And I also know that they are also supposed to be at the location. It should be on the
signboard,
so that citizens can know what the project stands for, what it represents, and who is awarding this particular contract. Okay, you're still listening to Ground Zero right here on Invicta 98.9, and this segment is coming to you from the Public and Private Development Center, and of course you can drop any information in respect of it at the Procurement Monitor Twitter handle. That's PP Monitor NG. PP Monitor NG. You can follow them on Twitter, and you can also drop questions and other things in respect of this segment of the program that we are talking about. Now, if the citizen finally gets there and what he's expecting is not what he's seeing on ground, probably the project is talking about constructing of a road, putting asphalt and all of that, but the contractor only came, graded the road and disappeared from the site. What should the person or the citizens around there do next? What's the next line of action for them?
Okay, so I would say one of the things that we praise the Kaduna State government, this present government, for is that most, if not all, the MDAs are available on social media. They're there on Twitter, they're there on Facebook. So if you go to a particular project location and you see that something looks off, first you go to the MDA responsible. You should see it on the signpost there, and you go to ask questions. And by law, they're actually supposed to respond to you. You write to them a letter. It's called the Freedom of Information Act, and then you write a letter requesting for information, and they're supposed to give you information within 7 days. Yes. Yeah. So beyond that, you can tweet at maybe the commissioner, or if the contractor is on social media, or the MDA, in fact, or the governor also, and ask your questions. Other people in your community can also, use their voices to share the post and say, oh, we know according to the what is available on the website that the project is supposed to be this, but on getting there, this is not what we're seeing. And you can take photos for evidence and post it on social media, and definitely you will get a response from someone who is supposed to handle it to, do what they're supposed to do eventually.
All right. Another alternative is you can organize as a community. You can organize and write a physical letter, and engage the very MDA that's responsible. Where you could not see a signpost, that means you cannot ascertain which MDA awarded that contract. You can just address that very little PPA, which is in the government house. You can just address it to them, and they will definitely check their database and understand who is responsible for that very project, and they will do the necessary, and they will definitely respond, and we'll take it from there.
All right. We cannot open the phone lines now, but rather we will take some messages. After those messages, we'll come talk about our second segment. Then we'll take all the calls together towards the end of the program.
Yeah.
All right. Ground Zero is a program, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9 FM. Let's take some messages. After these messages, we'll talk about the Zonal Dissemination of Social Protection Policy in Kaduna State, matters arising. All right, welcome back from that commercial timeout. You're still listening to Ground Zero on Invicta 98.9 FM. Let's look at the second segment and zonal dissemination of Kaduna State social protection policy and matters arising. And to discuss that with me, I have Paul Joseph. He is from the Kaduna State Social Protection Accountability Coalition, KADSPAC. Paul, you're welcome to Ground Zero again.
Thank you, Is.
Okay. Social protection policy.
Yes.
Of Kaduna State. If somebody tell us what it's all about so that we can now talk about the dissemination, why there was a need for dissemination, all the 3 senatorial zones in Kaduna State.
Okay. Thank you for having me. Social protection policy is a document that contains the intentions of government, all the programs, activities government intend to do around social protection.
Okay.
You know, but social protection itself, it's the activities and programs that government will intend to do in the policy to cushion the effect of poverty and vulnerability amongst its citizens.
Okay.
Yeah, summary.
All right. And that was that policy was made public February this year.
February,
yes.
It was launched by the executive governor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's still in the State House of Assembly, or is it not there yet? Because I know that the process of passing.
You know, the policy is different from the bill. Maybe you are talking about the bill.
Yes, the policy. What was coming to my mind was the agency or the organization that will be responsible
to coordinate all social protection activities in Kaduna State.
Yeah.
You know, the process is that there's a policy right now.
Yeah.
The governor has approved, has launched the policy. We are expecting to have a bill, you know, to be sent to the State Assembly for passage into law. After that bill is passed, then there will be a creation of an agency for social protection in Kaduna State.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now let's look at the social protection policy, the dissemination that took place in the 3 senatorial zones of Kaduna State.
Okay.
And why was the need for such activity in the first place?
Okay. As we all know, the governor launched the social protection policy in Kaduna State, and there was need to cascade those same information to the zones, to the 3 zones of the state. So the essence is to cascade the approved SP policy to stakeholders at the 3 senatorial districts of Kaduna State. And the dissemination program took place because we intend to create awareness amongst the stakeholders to increase our public awareness and understanding of key components of the policy, towards enabling wider participation during the implementation. Of course, there is an implementation plan that is on ground. Once a policy is on ground, there should be an implementation plan.
Yeah.
So for us to be able to have a wider, participation amongst the citizens, they need to be aware. That awareness need to be created, and hence they need to convene this dissemination activity at the 3 zones. It's also to generate stakeholders' feedback on ways to accelerate the effective implementation of the policy. You know, because stakeholders are key, and they will be involved in the implementation of this policy. Government cannot implement in a vacuum. Government must implement amongst the citizens, and these key stakeholders must be part of the implementation of this policy. And the last one is to build a network of grassroots partnerships to escalate community buy-in and ownership of the policy itself. Okay. You know, the community must be able to buy in and own, the policy itself.
Okay.
So
we are talking about stakeholders.
Yes, stakeholders.
Who are the stakeholders?
Okay. For the dissemination that took place, in Zaria, Kaduna, and Kafanchan, the stakeholders were the 23 local government chairmen of Kaduna State, and then we have directors of education and social development in which are residents at the LGAs. These are the government side. I'm giving you the government side. Then we have national orientation agencies. Their representative where we are also present. 23 in the 23 LGAs. Then we have religious leaders present, who are some of the key stakeholders. We have traditional institutions, we are present there. We have civil society, we are represented. We have community-based organizations. We have the media. We have the women leaders, and we have the youth leaders. These are PWDs. PWDs were there. Who are living with disability. People with disability. We don't call them people living. It's people with disability. So all these are the stakeholders that were present at the nation.
Okay.
That took place.
And I know you were part of one. What was the level of participation and feedback? How was it like? How did they accept or receive it?
Yes, I was at Kafanchan for the dissemination, and the reception, the feedback was good. Where we had the stakeholders, and almost all of them made commitments. Commitment and resolution intend to cascade further, because the essence of it is we went to cascade at the local government level. So they are also supposed to cascade further, to step down what they learned to wards at the ward level. We had commitments. We have at KADSPAC, we have people we call our SP champions, social protection champions. We all have them, during the meeting, and most of them, agreed that yes, there's need for a further cascading of this information at the ward level, and they intend to step down this among their ward champions and go back, even further to the community level. Some of the traditional institutions, they also have this commitment that they would convene a meeting of all the traditional, leaders around Southern Kaduna, where they will also cascade and step down this information so that people can have, input even during the implementation of this social protection policy. We have people from the media. We have people from NAN and Salama Radio in Kafanchan, where they said they also disseminate this same information, by writing stories, also allowing air time for us to be able to, and other people that are there to be able to shed more light to the community, such that this information, this policy gets to every nook and cranny of the southern part of Kaduna, so that when the implementation starts, everybody would be carried along. Nobody will be left out of the implementation of the social protection programs in Kaduna State.
All right, because one of the popular slang is no one should be left behind.
Yes, leaving no one behind.
Leave no one behind. And that's
the slogan of the governor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You're listening to Ground Zero on Invicta 98.1, Invicta 98.9 FM. And let's open up the phone lines now, because it's very important that we also get feedbacks from the listeners, because the purpose of the program is for them. So
yes.
From them. 081 40,000 989 is the number to dial to add your voice to the conversation this evening. Or you can go to various social media handles. On Facebook, it is Invicta FM Kaduna. Invicta FM Kaduna is a link on Facebook. You go there, add your voice. On Twitter is at Invicta FM 989, at Invicta FM 989. And you can call us on 081 40,000 989 or 07087 800 989. 081 40,000 989 and 07087 800 989. Okay, we have our first caller this evening. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Well,
fine, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Sonia from Kaduna.
Sonia?
Yes.
All right, Sonia. What would be your contribution to our discussion this evening?
What discussion are you talking about?
Okay, I guess you'd have to listen some more, and you'll get to understand what we are talking about. 081400989 and 07087800989. So, as you expect your calls to come in, you can also go to our various social media handles and add your voice to the.
On Facebook is Invicta Kaduna, Invicta FM Kaduna, and on Twitter is at Invicta FM 989. Let's take this call. Hello, good evening, welcome to Ground Zero. Hello. Zero 081400989 and 07087800989 are the numbers to dial to add your voice to our conversation this evening. Okay, while we await some of the calls to come in, I'll come back to Paul Joseph. Now, you talked about the various commitments from the stakeholders and all of that. Can we have just one or two of the commitments from any of the stakeholders while we wait for the calls to come in?
Okay, one of the commitments that was made from JNI, they said that they would try as much as possible to use their imams to educate their members during some of their programs. You mentioned Tafsir. During the fasting period, they usually have sermons. So he said that some of their imams will be enlightened so that they will cascade this and educate their members during such a program. And, the PWD that was there also stated that he will organize, mobilize all the PWDs, in the southern part of Kaduna, where they will cascade, they will step down this information, to their members so that they will be able to own, the program, the SP policy and the implementation. They want to be part of it. They want to be part of it during the implementation. So he said that they would definitely cascade and step down to their members. We also have, like I said earlier, the person from News Agency of Nigeria said that he's going to do a lot of stories around social protection policy so that the citizens to know more about it. And Salama from Kafanchan said they're going to give us an airtime where we would also be able to more on the policy so that every citizen in the southern part of Kaduna gets to own, the process entirely. So when government begin to implement the policy in the southern part of Kaduna, everybody will be part and parcel of it.
All right.
Yes.
Let's quickly take this call from...
Hello?
Yes, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Comrade Gabriel, man.
All right, Comrade Gabriel, let's have your take.
Sir, my worry is that before you discuss about this project monitoring, for example, sir.
Okay. The procurement...
My worry is that, procurement or something. Yeah. My worry is that, we have different political parties. So don't you think a final person trying to monitor what actually is going on? I don't know how the government in power will be able to handle the issue, because some of us will be thinking that he doesn't want the progress of the state or something like that. Maybe he will overstep what he's supposed to do. Secondly, you said social protection. I didn't understand it, sir. Is it for the benefit of those of us who have nothing doing or what? Because like me now, I expect the state government to look inwardly into our matter, because for so many years now we've been out of job. I don't know whether they will discuss that.
Okay.
Because by the time we sit together and then discuss this issue, it may be the governor will say, okay, a lot of industry in Kaduna have closed. Let us bring them back so that people will be at least have something there. So I think that is also part of social protection. I don't know whether that is it, sir.
Okay, because you've lost your job, you have become vulnerable. Of course, it's part of what they will be talking about.
And for the other item, he was talking about procurement. So, let's start to respond to them as other calls.
So he actually raised a concern about the opposition tracking projects, which definitely is their own basic right. Before they become an opposition, they are citizens of Kaduna State. They are citizens of this country, and they own the government a fair opportunity and a fair platform to do whatever every citizen can do.
So definitely, even as an opposition, even as someone who don't even vote, even someone who have no interest in politics, you are supposed to have interest in governance.
Let's quickly take this call.
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. You're welcome to Ground Zero. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yes, I'm Brother Chris calling from Remy Kamango.
Sorry, I did not get the name.
I'm Chris calling from Remy Kamango.
All right, Chris, let's have your take.
Yes, mine is question.
Okay.
About this project implementation fund. You know that previous government approved some projects around the state. But when this government came in, all these projects is being abandoned. What are the government plans about this project? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris. I don't know if it's something that you guys want to...
Okay, so, hello, Mr. Chris. We are actually not officials of the government. That's number one.
Yeah.
And we cannot ascertain why those projects were cancelled. But I think the best thing you can do as a citizen is just to write a letter and address it to any of the MDA that's responsible. Yeah. And I assure you, they are going to give you a very, very full explanation. In case they fail to, then you can talk to us and we can see how we can add our voices to it.
All right. Oh, we missed this call. Okay.
All right.
Oh, let's quickly talk about Comrade Gabriel. That's
Comrade Gabriel.
Yeah, whether they are part of.
Social protection itself, there are programs and policies designed for individuals and households, which Gabriel is inclusive. Yeah. It's this for individual households, throughout a life cycle. When we say throughout a life cycle, from conception to when a man dies, it covers everyone. The programs are to reduce poverty or to prevent poverty or socio-economic shocks. Like he said, he was talking about loss of job. That is socio-economic shocks. Social protection covers that. You understand? It covers that. So in the policy itself, it has components of it. That we have what we call social assistance, we have social insurance, we have labor market. So he that lost his job, his own social protection falls under labor market. So government will be doing a lot around labor market to create enabling environment. One, government will also work to give skills to people that have lost their jobs. Government will work in the policy, will have what I cannot say it categorically, but it's spelled out what government and do around that.
Yeah.
At the federal level, they do empower. It's part of the labor market programs for the government. But for that of Kaduna State, it's spelled out in the implementation plan. And for this program, I don't think we are talking about the implementation plan here. So dissemination. So Gabriel, you should know that the essence of social protection is for everyone to have a life of dignity.
Yeah.
And when we talk about life of dignity, we're talking about access to healthcare, quality education, infrastructure, housing. All those things that makes a man have a life of dignity. That is social protection. And if you are a citizen of Kaduna State, the policy have you covered.
All right. 08140,989 and 07087800989 are the numbers to dial. Meanwhile, on our live video stream, we have people giving us the thumbs up and all of that. Like I always say, sincerely, we appreciate all of that.
Yeah.
But I think we would also love to have your comments. Let's have your say. Say something to us. So Musa Grace Era Ababa is saying, keep up the good work. Yeah. Thank you, Musa Grace. We have Margie Adams saying you're doing a great job. Thank you so much. Sebastian Shekwoduza Ayuba is saying he's watching us live. Keep up the good work. And Alata Bichil is saying that it's unfortunate that the network is bad here in Niger State. I don't know whether it's Niger State or Niger. He's right now Niger. Of course, you can listen to Invicta FM all over the world.
Wow.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to Ground Zero. Hello. Hello.
This is Simon from town.
All right, Simon. Can you move away from your radio set, please?
Thank you so very much for bringing us this important message.
All right, Simon.
Okay, sir. Thank you so very much.
So what would be your specific contributions, your requests, your questions?
Sir?
Do you have questions or contributions to make, please?
For we citizens, can we stop depending too much on the government? Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Simon, for calling in. All right, so you're still listening to Ground Zero. And going back to messages on our social media platform, the internet is not very, very encouraging. It's just breaking up. Okay, so let's start to take our parting shots on the program because we actually have less than 6 minutes to wrap it all up. I'd like to start from Mohammed, Sani.
So we all believe information, except information is being used.
Yeah.
We can't call it powerful, and except information is in full, we can still call it misleading. We advise, and the whole aim of what we do is we're trying to empower people to understand those informations and use those very informations to hold our leaders accountable. Issue around governance, issue around transparency and accountability is a very, very wide issue which cannot be overemphasized and which can never be. The time can never be enough for us to continue to exhaust what we want to say. So you can follow us on the PP Monitor, that's Public and Private Development Center. You can also follow us on Followtaxes on our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and even Instagram. Followtaxes, so that we can continue this discussion. And we're doing a lot around project tracking, procurement tracking, and just last year we tracked more than 50 billion despite the COVID on capital projects and other services that we believe are very, very important to improving public service delivery for everyone. So follow us on our social media handles and let's continue discussion. Remember, information can only be powerful when used. Please use this little information and let's kickstart the process. Let's hold our leaders accountable. Follow CAD PPE, check the projects that are close to you, check them. Let's see what we can do.
All right, Joy.
Yes, to add to what Mohammed has said, I would like to encourage everyone out there to, be a part of governance. The time has long passed when we would just complain and rant on social media. Maybe get involved, be a part of the community development charter. When it's time for budget town halls and hearings, be a part of it so that what you have in mind can be heard. And also further, after budgets have been passed, please track projects near you. This is going to ensure transparency and accountability from our government.
All right, thank you so much. I'll come to Joseph.
Okay.
What will be your parting shots?
Yeah, in the policy, the social protection policy, the government said its own commitment is to have, for every citizen to have access to good healthcare services, quality education, housing and safe environment, food, safe water, sanitation and hygiene, disability benefits. The government said they want to protect the residents of Kaduna State during emergency. The government said they would provide a safety net for maternal care and support. The government said they would do a lot, child and old age benefits and support. The citizens need to know all these things so that they will be able to hold the government accountable within this period of implementation of the social protection policy. Once the government is not doing what it's supposed to do, the citizen itself should rise up to our own responsibility to hold the government accountable. So we need to know all this information. that we can be able to partner with government and hold them accountable. Thank you
All
very
right.
much. Yeah.
Okay, the Twitter handle for KADSPAC. At KADSPAC. At KADSPAC. I think that, yeah.
Yes.
At KADSPAC.
Yes.
That's the Twitter handle of KADSPAC. So you can also follow them to get more information and to know more about the Kaduna State Social Protection Policy and generally get a better understanding or a hand on social protection and what it means, what it stands for, who falls under it. Well, that's been the size of the program today, but before we go, I sincerely want to appreciate the Public and Private Development Center for taking care of the first segment of the program where we have the gentleman Mohammed Sani Ibrahim. He is the program's lead transparency and accountability in Totality at Followtaxes. Mohammed, thank you so much for having time to be on the program.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
And Joy Una, she's also from the transparency and accountability in Totality, Followtaxes. Joy, thanks for being on Ground Zero.
Thank you very much for having us.
And finally, we have Paul Joseph from the Kaduna State Social Protection Accountability Coalition, KADSPAC. Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. My name is Ehis Admon. On Tuesday, I'll be back for another edition of the program Ground Zero right here on Invicta 98.9 FM. Until then, like always, I would say, plant a tree today, water it, and watch it grow. Before you claim the right of way, make sure you are safe and not sorry. Keep the dial on Invicta 98.9 FM.